Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cinema Savvy. It is myself, George, joined by Charlie for another review. This is, of course, Oscar season. This is Rooted Tick Tick Boom. One of the, I want to say one of the not necessarily the favourites to win stuff, because they're nominated for two, but one of the biggest films in terms of hype going into all this kind of stuff that we're going to get into today. As I said, it is Oscar season. We've got a lot of reviews happening. Films nominated for Best Picture, films that have got other nominations like this one that are in big roles. Obviously, Andrew Garfield is going to be a very big talking point for this, and a lot of other things. So, this film has been out for a few months now. Not that there are spoilers as such, but you can just comment whatever you want about Tick Tick Boom. Please do so. As I said, a lot of people have really enjoyed this film. They've enjoyed Andrew Garfield. So please do hit that like button if you do like that. And subscribe. If you're a fan of Oscar videos, this is a place to come for those kind of things. It's a safe space to discuss all things Oscars. We've got predictions videos as well and lots of other stuff. And if you want to find out where we are, where you can find out what videos are coming up, what Oscar films are coming up as well, the best place to do so is on our social medias, Twitter at cinema_savvy, Facebook and letterboxd.com/cinemasavvy, and we have a link to TeePublic in the description below. But Charlie, lovely to get you back on. And how are we today?
Yeah, good. It's good to be back. I can't even remember what the last one I came on for was. So yeah, it's good.
Was it June? It was maybe it was June or something
Yeah,
at the festival.
probably.
I feel that there might have been something else after. I could be wrong.
Who
Um,
knows?
it's been a wild. I can't even remember most of last year. I'm not going to lie. It's already blurred
Um,
by. But there's a reason I wanted you on this review today. I've always called you the musical person. Not that there's been many reviews of musicals on the channel,
and that should
but you're
change.
yeah. Well, the last year I've seen probably more musicals than the 20 years before and all that sort of stuff. So
Hmm.
there is progress to be said. But I know obviously outside of doing these, I know you're a massive fan of musical theatre as well, not just films. And you've
Hmm.
always got the knowledge of that, telling me what to watch, what stuff is good as well. So I wanted to get you on for this, and I'm actually gonna put you on the spot. You were at a very special event last week for this film. If you want to tell people about that too.
Yeah, I was. I was very lucky to go to the Netflix screening in association with the Telegraph and with Spotlight for Tick Tick Boom. It was at the Mayfair Hotel in London, and there was a very, very, very special Q&A after the film with the lovely Andrew Garfield, which was amazing. And for me, about 20 minutes into the film, I thought, this is probably what, the fourth or fifth time I'm watching this, but the first time I was seeing it on a cinema screen, which for a lot of Tick Tick Boom fans particularly will be something that we all wanted. This is a huge, huge musical. It's a beautifully shot film. So to see it on that great big screen was really special. And then, of course, having the lovely Andrew Garfield afterwards talking to us about the film was also amazing.
Did someone throw in a Spider-Man question of why Tobey Maguire is the best out of the three? I'm joking.
They,
I won't
for
go into
that
that.
reason, didn't open the questions up to the audience.
At least he didn't have to get
Probably
asked
a
anymore
good
if he's going
thing.
to be in it. He's
Yeah.
had he's finished now. A lot of people joke saying he should get the Oscar for telling everyone he wasn't in it. But that is a different conversation for another time. Obviously, want to say as well, this film is directed by Manuel Miranda, his directorial debut for film, I
Yep.
believe, as well.
Yeah.
Who's had also a storming year. Another musical you loved, In the Heights. I know you went on that
Yeah.
review. Me and Tate
Yeah.
did that one, and
I should have been on
obviously,
that one. It was
I
my
don't know
favorite
what
film
happened.
other than Dune for last year. So
Yeah, maybe next time. I mean, the musicals aren't going away. I feel like we're on a bit of a resurgence. We've had West Side Story as well. We had
hmm
Annette, which is a very different musical, and
yeah, last year was the year of movie musicals making a huge comeback. I mean, there was so many. There was even Cyrano, which hasn't come out
yeah,
over here yet, but has had screenings last year, and In the Heights, Tick Tick Boom. Yeah, there was just so many. It was definitely the year of bringing musicals back to the forefront where they should be, because there's no reason why they should be forgotten about as a genre.
yeah, absolutely. And as well with this one, with it being about Jonathan Larson, it's a semi-autobiographical film which was based on his musical.
Hmm.
I believe,
His
as I said,
second
I'm not
musical, yeah.
his second musical, and was Rust his third one or
Rent was his third one.
Rent? Sorry, Rust is a different film. That's a Marion Cotillard one. Getting
Yeah,
mixed
so
up there.
he wrote three musicals. He wrote Superbia, which is mentioned a lot in the film, Tick Tick Boom, which he wrote after Superbia, and then and off the back of Tick Tick Boom, he wrote Rent, which of course if you've seen the film, will know that he never actually got to see when it made its Broadway debut.
And kind of talking about this film with this, I know when it's a almost a biopic, as a lot of these Oscar films often are, and I really do enjoy that genre. I think a lot of
Hmm.
people like to jump on biopics for being Oscar bait, but I do
Hmm.
think inherently, when you really delve into it, yes, some films get funded, but I don't think Lin-Manuel Miranda approached this film saying, "I want to win an Oscar to do a film about
No.
Jonathan Larson." I don't think that was his approach. I don't think that's Netflix's approach as well. Whereas obviously, I would say some studios do that, but never really the creative side of it. I think it's a really interesting term. House of Gucci, for example. No idea what that film was,
Really?
but but MGM wanted it to get put up for Oscars, so released it for no reason in November last year. So very different conversation. We don't need to go over that film again. That's been and gone. There's a video from November on that. Absolute train wreck. But no, let's really get into this one. So for me personally, this film, I mean, it isn't really just start and beginning of Andrew Garfield. This is Andrew Garfield's film. There's no hiding
Yeah.
from this. He has his nomination for Best Actor, a nomination that everyone's on the same page. He should have been nominated for the BAFTAs as well, which is kind of sad that he's British and he didn't too.
Yeah.
Is frustrating with things like that, but this is his best performance I've seen by a country mile. And I'm not just someone that's seen him play Spider-Man 3 times either. I've got to say that because I don't think some people know that there are things outside of that. But I'm curious about what you think of him in this as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's his film. I mean, that's not to say that the supporting cast aren't phenomenal, because they really are. I think Robin DeJesus was completely snubbed at the Oscars. He should have been
Yeah,
up for Best Supporting Actor. I think his portrayal of an
Michael.
AIDS survivor, and Jonathan Larson's best friend is beautiful. But Andrew Garfield just steals it 100%, and I think it's such a shame that he was completely forgotten about at BAFTA. I think the whole film was completely forgotten about. I mean, is it because of the Netflix release? Maybe. Is it because it's a predominantly American story set in New York about an American? Jonathan Larson is much more well known in the States than he is here, because Rent was huge. But yeah, I mean, it's such a shame that he got missed off that list. But I've got very strong hopes that he will walk away with an Oscar this year, but we'll see.
I think going off the Oscar talks, as you said, the cast is phenomenal. I'm glad you mentioned Robin Hayes, because Michael, I've seen this one twice, and I saw it once around the time it came out, and again today before this review. And I quite enjoyed it. Again, as someone that has no knowledge of musicals, I didn't know who Jonathan Larson was. I didn't know any of his musicals at all. Didn't know the story. And when you go into something completely blind, that's why I love biopics. Is not is it going to be accurate because you can find out after, but are you going to get invested in their characters, in their journeys, and what
Mm,
happens? And with the whole subplot with Michael, that he was the failed actor, successful in marketing, and John Larson was kind of envious, but it's his best friend, and then obviously you get that revelation. That's probably, and this is the whole cinema environment. Watching that at home, I've got a nice setup. I don't care about it, but getting that the drop that he had AIDS, and it builds up to that, is very well written. The film, if you're not in the know, a lot of their friends have been going through. Obviously, with being set in the early '90s as well, you've got everything that was happening at the time. But
mhm.
it's like a pin drop. That moment is when the whole film just shift dimensions, and the scenes we get afterwards. Andrew Garfield has already been fantastic, but what he is able to do in his performance with this, and with the charisma he has in this film, and a lot of people might see this as, oh, it's Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield. I don't think it is at all. I think he was perfectly cast to play the character he is,
Yeah,
and that's where I kind of stand with it. That he has, a struggling relationship with his girlfriend, where there are choices to make. He's got to have a career, and the whole concept is, he is turning 30 as well, and it's looking back at life and what other people are doing, have done, which I do think something that resonates with a lot of people today. Maybe
yeah,
our generation more so than some others, obviously, without getting into the real world politics of stuff, but to me, Garfield absolutely completes this film. And you mentioned the ensemble's really good. I didn't even clock that Vanessa Hudgens was in it on the first thing. I didn't realize it was her because I've not seen her in anything for years. So I think
I
was
think
she in
she's brilliant in it. I think she's proved herself yet again, that she's not just famous for High School Musical, because I think she really brought a bit of like sort of sass and character to the film, and a very, like, I mean, Alexandra Shipp is also very good
yeah.
as Susan. Jonathan Larson's girlfriend, but she has the emotional baggage. Whereas I think Vanessa Hudgens' character, although she doesn't necessarily drive the plot, she's a constant all the way through it. And I think she just brings that kind of level of energy and the musical theatre-ness of it. I think she really really carries it.
Yeah, and with those two as well, it's interesting because Alexandra Shipp, you mentioned, plays Susan the girlfriend, who I think is great in this film. Again,
Hmm.
great chemist. Andrew Garfield has chemistry with every single person, and I think
Yeah.
that isn't just on him; that's on Lin-Manuel Miranda because as the director, this is his production, and with his musical background, you can tell that there is. I hate using words like vibe, but when you're watching it from the get-go, I
Mm.
think it sets the tone and everyone's interaction on screen is believable. They're this friendship group. They're performing with each other. They all love each other. You know, you've got the Monsoon staff members, you've got his musical staff members, and you've got his other friends. Everything clicks. And I
Mm.
don't think it's as easy as people would think to juggle it like this. And this is where the second viewing's really kicked in for me today. Is that, I enjoyed it the first time round and I thought it was very good the first time round, but there's been something about it on this second one. And even now I know what the story is, you're able to see certain, you can approach the film differently. You can see where the
Mhm.
songs are heading, where characters are heading, and heading into the music side of things because I know so little about musicals and songs and lyrics, and you know me, I listen to film soundtracks mainly as well, so I'm not even used to lyrics and songs. How is this for you as a fan of musicals, the songs that were done, how they were sung, all that kind of stuff?
I mean, I need to find another word that isn't just perfect when I talk about this film, because obviously they're Jonathan Larson's original songs all the way through, which is huge to use for, and also the fact that they decided to tell the story of Tick Tick Boom rather than the story of Rent, because Rent has a very, very well-known soundtrack in musical theatre circles. It's got some huge songs in it that anybody who's ever studied musical theatre or is just generally a fan will know. But Tick Tick Boom is slightly lesser known because of the success of Rent, I suppose. But the placement of the songs, the way that they incorporate the one man show that Jonathan Larson put on when showcasing Tick Tick Boom, the way that they drive it all through the telling of his presentation of Superbia, it's so clever. This is why why it's been nominated for editing, because it the pacing and the placement of all the songs and all the scenes and all the dynamics between the characters is so well done, and it really drives the story. But the music in general, I mean, I've listened to the soundtrack to the point where I can literally sing it whilst I'm asleep. I just think the songs are beautiful and they're powerful and they're important. And Andrew Garfield's performances are, I mean, it's true. Well, as far as I know, it's true that he wasn't a singer before he was cast in this film.
Oh,
He
really?
learnt to sing for the role. Lin-Manuel Miranda said he doesn't want anyone else playing this character. Andrew Garfield is perfect. I mean, he even looks like Jonathan Larson. The casting was spot on. But he learned the craft and he learned to play piano for this role, which I think is, I mean, what an achievement.
Yeah, and that's complete blame. I thought he might have been someone that might have sung previous or something because his voice is great and it's the songs they do. I don't mean this is understatement. Some musicals can sound not one note, but I guess if you've got a bad musical, some songs sound like they're being spoken to. Looking at
Hmm.
Gladiator, all that kind of stuff, and you get some musicals where it's so varied. It's about the words more than what's being sung, but with this one, it is about each song is its own performance, and there is a
Yeah, and
variety.
that's just a different style of musical. I mean, it's not a sing through by any means. It's a standalone song musical, which is great, and it's different to what Lynn normally does. You know, Hamilton in the Heights, they're much more driven by the music rather than by the dialogue and the performances, which is fine. It's what he's good at. You know, why would we stop him doing something he's an expert in? But it was nice to see him give himself this bit more of a challenge, and also to be directing a film that's not his music. You know, because that's what he normally does. So. Um, I think the music is the most important element of this film, and they really did. I think they did Jonathan Larson proud with it,
And you mentioned Lin Manuel in the director's chair. Now I spotted his cameo as well as the chef in the kitchen, which I quite enjoyed. I
which
know
you'll
he
notice
cameoed.
is in everything that he does. He's
Yeah,
always going to pop up somewhere.
really off point. So obviously this is these are the Oscars reviews we're doing. We talk about the categories nominated for. I'm sure we probably spoke about this on text. Do you think it is an inevitable that Lin-Manuel will direct an adaptation of Hamilton eventually. Not saying next or soon, but do you think that that is something that they could be gearing towards in the future? I feel like it's dumb for me to say it wouldn't, but because I don't know, I've never seen Hamilton. I'd like to. I won't watch the Disney Plus version. I'd like to see it in person. That's how I
Hmm.
think theatre should be viewed before you watch it online. But I'm just curious for you as somebody that obviously is into theatre. Do you think he could do something like that? Because I thought for a debut film, this was outstanding. And I know that he has, he's worked on a lot of films. He's wrote songs for a lot of films as well.
Hmm.
But still, to jump into that director's chair and do something as solid as this on the first time of asking.
I think it will be adapted eventually into film. I don't know if Lin would direct it. He didn't direct In the Heights. He made the decision not to. Whether that was because he'd already got Tick Tick Boom under, like, in production, I don't know. But for some reason, he decided to hand In the Heights over to John M. Chu, which was a great choice. I don't know if he would do the same with Hamilton. Whether or not I think it should happen is a different question. I love Hamilton as much as any musical theatre fan loves Hamilton. I've seen it twice. I think it's incredible. Um, I don't know if it needs to be made into a film. I think it works perfectly on stage. But then, if you'd asked me 2 years ago whether or not I thought In the Heights needed to be made into a film, maybe I would have given the same answer. So I don't know. I just get a little bit cautious when there's this stage to screen crossover because we've been let down so many times. I didn't like Les Mis. Obviously, nobody liked Cats. It's a risk. It's always such a big risk. Um, but it'll probably still happen. So I don't really think my opinion on it matters.
It's still interesting to hear it though, because it is something obviously a lot of people do associate with them. And sort of going back to the Oscars stuff, we've mentioned it's got 2 nominations: Best Actor, Best Editing. Now, on our predictions video, I've put this. I think I've put both of these actually as my second choice. I think if there is going to be one big household shock at the Oscars this year, I genuinely believe it's going to be Garfield beating Will Smith.
God,
Um,
I hope so.
and this is, I don't want to get your hopes up though, but I do think Will Smith has it. I think it is that career Oscar that the Oscars love
Oh,
doing as well. But I just
mhm,
think if there's going to be one big shock, and I think the thing with the Oscars, Garfield's got momentum. Yes, he didn't get nominated at the BAFTAs, but Andrew Garfield, I mean, I'm going to just say it. I think Spider Man's really helping his chances. And I don't mean that sound like, not he's not winning because of Spider Man, but being in the public limelight for probably the most he has in years, spending an entire year marketing all of his films around Spider-Man. There's something about hitting December where everything's clicked, and I feel that heading into towards the end of February now, that he's just getting more and more and more momentum as every week passes. There's the amazing Vanity Fair video, which I know you showed me
mhm,
on Instagram as well. That and when Vanity Fair do their Oscars every year, they always have select people, and you mentioned you were at a Q&A with him as well. It's all part of the campaign, and I just think there's something heading in Garfield's momentum, and I think if he were to win it, it wouldn't be the incorrect choice. I think he's an absolute worthy winner, um, and it does come down to is this a better performance than Will Smith in King Richard? And I loved King Richard, um, so that's the big question heading into the next few weeks, and I think Garfield could nab it, and even editing's. I mean, I don't like to predict categories like that, but you spoke on the editing for me today. The way this film's able to balance those narratives alongside the musical, going back to the past, and even when you've got the singing on when he has when he breaks up with his girlfriend in this,
mhm.
and then you're getting the cutting of Vanessa Hudgens as well singing on
Oh,
stage. This film's really well edited, and I've put it number two because I think if there's I wouldn't want to say winning a technical is a shot, that makes it sound really unfair, but this film I think is just gathering momentum in all the right ways.
I mean, I think it could do what's been. I mean, I suppose I haven't seen King Richard yet, so I don't. I have my own opinions on Will Smith, but that doesn't mean I'm judging his performance because I haven't seen it yet. And I'm sure he's getting a lot of praise, so I imagine it's probably quite good. Um, but maybe this is going to be one of those typical Oscar moments where a film that's not, probably the same for Kristen Stewart, a film that's not really nominated for anything else wins the actor or actress award. I think Andrew Garfield's performance out of all the ones I've seen is the best one. Um, but I don't know. We'll see. I kind of don't want to get my hopes up. get my hopes up
No,
too
but
often with the Oscars, and then I'm let down. So
look,
we'll see.
especially after last year, I don't think anyone's ever gonna forget the shenanigans of that ceremony. But no, so kind of wrapping the Oscar speak, I'm going to give my final thoughts. As I said, I've really enjoyed this film. Again, knowing nothing, and now I'm quite interested. I'm very curious. I think maybe because I've actually seen a musical in person over the last few weeks, I'm
Oh
even more
yeah,
curious than normal.
which
So it is
actually it has been hinted at on Twitter today that
Josh Gad
Book of Mormon is
a
getting the
taping
Hamilton
first.
treatment. Yeah.
I, I would love to see it. I'm a massive fan of Trey Parker and Matt Stone as well. But no, I've really enjoyed watching this film again, and I probably won't see it a third time before the Oscar ceremony. But I don't. It's really from someone pathetic that's watched Spider-Man 3 times in like the opening 2 days. I don't like going back to films often. When it's like Oscar season, I always feel if I'm going back to something, I'm missing something else. But watching it
Yeah.
today, I didn't feel that. I felt like it was well worth seeing again. I enjoyed it, and I didn't feel like I was missing out on any. I think 'cause I've seen most of them this year, to be fair.
Mm.
But normally it's that stress of okay, I've ticked this off, I've ticked that off. Whereas with this film, it's very much no. I really want to sit down and watch it, and I think other people would watch it, would enjoy it, and it's going to be very interesting to see how this does. But yeah, my final thoughts: if you haven't already seen this film, we're 20 minutes into this review, we've been glowing for it. But I would say do watch this. I think it's a favourite of mine. I think if I do end up watching more musicals as years go by, this is one I'm always going to think of.
Yeah, I mean, my final thoughts are this film is perfect. It's everything it needed to be. Tells Jonathan Larson's story beautifully, whilst also incorporating the importance of the AIDS crisis. And Lynn did such a good job on his first directed film. Can't wait to see what he brings to us next. Obviously, he's always one to watch. Sad that this year he won't be getting his EGOT, but we've got Bond to thank for
Uh,
that. Thanks,
did he do the
George.
song? Did he do the song for? Well, yeah, he's not going to win best song, but he's nominated for best song still, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's nominated
Um,
for Encanto, but he's
yeah,
not going to win it.
no. If
But
Sam Smith can win an Oscar for Spectre, then every Bond film ever is going to win an Oscar now for
maybe
best
they're
song.
saving Lynn's Oscar for when the inevitable Hamilton film is
He'll sweep it. He'll
released.
he'll take like they'll give him like director screenplay songs supporting
Yeah,
or something.
he'll write
Um,
a new song for it.
but
But
when
yes,
that
no,
time, oh, sorry.
I was just going to finish up by saying, yeah, that this film is just perfect, and everybody go and watch it, and let's hope Andrew walks away with his Oscar this year.
Absolutely. So everybody at home, please do comment your thoughts on Tick Tick Boom. Charlie, it's been lovely to get you on today. Lovely to get you back on. As I said, musical theatre. Charlie's the person to go to for recommendations for shows, anything like that. She's used to getting spam messages from me. I think it was Book of Mormon. I took my sister to, and you kind of gave like the thumbs up for it as well, which is always helps.
Great.
And for those that don't follow Charlie, we've got a Twitter scrolling across the bottom of the screen now at Funny Old World X. A lot of Oscar thoughts, a lot of Andrew Garfield tweets, and everything else. I don't want to like sell it anything more. What can you say about your account? Is there any cute dog photos that people can look at as well?
Oh, there's always pictures of the dog on there, always.
Definitely. So everyone do follow Charlie on there. As I said, love getting you back on. And it's Oscar season. You want to get the people on that do suit them
Yeah,
for it. And our socials are going across the bottom. Twitter at cinema_savvy, Facebook and letterboxd.com/cinema savvy. Links to public in that description below. As we said, it is Oscar season. There's a lot of films to cover. The next Oscar film, by the time this goes up, this will be Sunday the 20th of February. The next Oscar film is going to be this Wednesday, the 23rd. That's going to be me and Tate doing a review on Coda, one of the last few Best Picture films we haven't yet covered on the channel. One I'm very much looking forward to seeing, mainly because my Apple trial finishes in about 3 weeks. I've really got to get a move on watching it. And a lot of other stuff coming on the channel. We've been having Batman videos going up every Friday. That film is coming out. And there may be a big announcement to make with that film's release. So hit that subscribe button for more Batman content. There may be some more reviews. There may be a spoiler-free review before the film comes out if someone's very lucky. There may be a spoiler discussion after the film's out to get a big round table going. So much other stuff happening and more DC. I know you're not a DC fan, Charlie. There's going to be a Peacemaker spoiler discussion going up at some point this week. The incredible John Cena reunited with James Gunn, of course, both legends in their own rights, and that's
can
going to
I
be
go
going.
now?
Yeah, it's the preamble. This is where I just turned to a DC podcast. Marvel's going to come back just at the end of March with Moon Knight, so I can't do the Oscar Isaac impression. I really want it, but not on YouTube for anyone to see. But as always, I'm going to thank everybody at home for jumping on, for coming and supporting this channel. As I said, it's been amazing to see some of the messages we've seen over the last week as well from a lot of people looking at our videos, enjoying some of the Oscar content. I was surprised a lot of people really enjoyed Tammy Faye.
I haven't seen
Completely
it
surprised
yet.
me. Well, it's
Oh,
Disney Plus. Oscar fans, you based in the UK, Disney Plus have announced a lot of Nightmare Alley's coming on March the 16th, I think. West Side Story March the
What's that
2nd.
story? Yeah.
Tammy Faye the 9th or 23rd. So not too long to wait, but they are still making everybody wait. So once again, Charlie, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
And
you for
everybody
having
else,
me.
no worries. And everybody else for watching at home. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Bye.